The opposition hitting .238 against him. He has allowed 9 home runs, and his lifetime record 2-3 against the Mets.
The lineup for New York: Mookie Wilson leading it off and playing center field, and what an impression Greg Jefferies has made. He'll play second this afternoon. Keith Hernandez batting third. Keith with a 3-run homer last night, and Darryl Strawberry a dramatic game-tying home run in the 9th inning batting fourth. Kevin McReynolds in left field hitting fifth. Howard Johnson at third batting sixth. Barry Lyons is behind the plate today hitting seventh, much to the dismay of Gary Carter. He once again tried to talk Davey Johnson into allowing him to play, to no avail. Kevin Elster, the shortstop, hitting eighth, and Doc Gooden on the mound batting ninth.
And the defense for the Cubs, it'll be Mark Grace at first base, Manny Trio playing second, Ryan Sandberg had to be scratched at the last minute with a bad knee. John Dunston the shortstop, and Angel Salazar will be playing third. Palmeiro, Webster, and Dawson in the outfield, left to right, and the catcher is Damon Berryhill. The umpires for the game today: Jim Quick behind home plate, Dave Pallone at first base, John Kibler at second, and Eric Gregg the umpire at third. John Kibler, the head man of this crew. So Mookie Wilson stepping up. Mookie has hit in 13 of his last 14 games, hitting .377, overall hitting .280 with 6 home runs, 32 runs batted in. And the first pitch, a fastball, a called strike. Mookie 1 for 3 in last night's ball game, hitting .476 against the Cubs this year with 10 hits. Mets as a team hitting .252. They're third in the National League. The Cubs lead the National League in team batting. And another one for strike 2. Mets lead the league in home runs with 123. And you can see that stat on Mookie Wilson. In his last 25 games, he's hit .393. So he has really been charging. 1-2 the count on another fastball.
There's only one other National League team with over 100 home runs. That's the Cincinnati Reds. Every team in the National League, with the exception of the Texas Rangers, has over 100 home runs.
In the American League.
In the American League.
And that pitch a ball, so it's 2-2. Mets on the road have won 37. They have lost 33. Dodgers with the best road record in the National League. The Mets have the best home record. Mets have won 44 and lost 23 at home. Greg Maddux, last year the youngest pitcher in the National League at the age of 21. Last year Maddux with a record of 6-14. This year he's 16-7. And Mookie plays off the low fastball, so the count goes to 3-2. The 3-2 pitch. Ball 4. Mookie Wilson works out a walk after having a 2-strike count. So a runner on with no one out, and Greg Jefferies the batter. Jefferies 2 for 5 last night. And hitting .361 for the year with 3 home runs, 5 runs batted in. He's been up 36 times, has scored 7 runs, had 13 hits, 4 of them doubles, 1 triple, and 3 home runs. And it's ball 1. There is the stat, the 84th third baseman for the Mets. Toss to first. Mookie with 14 stolen bases in 18 attempts. Don Zimmer, the first of the Mets 84 third baseman. 2 balls, no strike.
And Don wants to talk to Greg Maddux. Greg appears to be aiming the ball, and as we said in our pregame comments, he is 1-4 with 5 no decisions since the All-Star break. His lone win coming against the Mets August 10th. He looks like he's having some problems with his shoulder. and he appears to be babying the ball up to the plate. There's not that usual pop that you're used to seeing out of Greg Maddux.
On August the 10th, he won the ball game, but worked only 5 2/3 innings.
Here's that last pitch again. Good movement. You see the movement away from a left-handed hitter, in on a right-hander, but it appears you see him stretching like that. That's not a good sign when you see pitchers do that, because there's a twinge somewhere, generally in the shoulder.
And he throws that one in the dirt. Good play by Grace at first base to save Maddux an error. That was a tough throw to handle way out there.
There, but for the grace of Mark.
Right. 2-0 the count. And a drive hit foul off to the left side. Mark Grace holding against Mookie Wilson. Fine young prospect for the Chicago Cubs. Mookie, a pretty good lead there. Almost made the move towards second. Throw over, not a hard throw. Mets have been successful 74% of the time in their stolen bases. But the Cubs catchers have thrown out 32% of the runners attempting to steal. There goes Mookie. A pitch out on a 2-1 pitch, and Mookie still gets there. So Berryhill, who has thrown out 41% of the base stealers attempting to steal, had a pitch out and didn't do it.
Well, it was a bad pitch out. The pitch out wasn't there. It was to his left side. Plus, Berryhill took too much time. Wilson, a good jump, but watch Berryhill. See where the pitch was? He's got to bring the glove back, and he takes too much time, and the throw's high into the third base side.
How about a pitch out and a 2-ball 1-strike count? And it leads to a walk as Jeffries gets ball 4, and that puts runners at first and second on 2 walks.
Well, if you guess right, and Don Zimmer and Damon Berryhill guessed right, but when you guess right, you anticipate throwing the runner out. That happens occasionally, but that was not a good pitch for Berryhill to handle. That transfer had to be made. You bring the glove all the way around to the right shoulder, and by the time he did that, Mookie had second base stolen.
So now runners at first and second and no one out, and Keith Hernandez the batter. Keith 1 for 5 last night. His 1-base hit, a 3-run home run. His 9th home run of the year was to left center field. And there's a fastball right in there, strike 1. That ball had a little pop on it. Keith hitting .279, 9 home runs, 49 runs batted in. Having a tough year against the Cubs. Got his first home run last night and is now hitting .179 against the Cubs this year. Goes after a pitch that's a ball. That's 1 ball and 1 strike. Make that strike 2. Beautiful day here in Chicago, as was yesterday. Mets played a night game last night, and the temperature last night certainly was nice. And a ball hit right up the middle as Keith Hernandez hits a 2-strike pitch into center field. Wilson comes in to score, and the Mets take the lead 1-0.
When the Mets were successful early in the season, they were scoring a lot in the first inning. When the New York Yankees were successful earlier in the year, they were scoring a lot in the first inning. It's a game of first. Hernandez, a ball outside, protecting away, and ropes it back through the middle to score Wilson.
And when the Mets score the first run of the ball game, they have a record of 51-21. So runners still at first and second. A run in, and Darryl Strawberry the batter. Darryl with a home run last night, 1 for 4. And he hits a foul ball off to the left side off the fastball. Strawberry leading the National League in home runs with 32. 5 5 ahead of Glenn Davis of Houston. And Darrell 4th in RBIs with 84. 1 strike to count. And ball 1-1-1. Strawberry also having trouble with the Cubs this year, hitting 137 against them all year long with 7 hits and 51 at bats. Got his first home run last night against Chicago. And there's a breaking ball in there, 1-2. Don Zimmer has said he would not pitch to Strawberry under any circumstances if he could walk him. Right here he's in a position where he really can't. And strike 3. Got that inside corner, and Strawberry caught looking. Big out.
Well, that's good sequence right there. The 1-0 pitch was caught the inside corner. The 1-1 pitch inside corner. Then he went away with the curveball. And then he comes back in with a tailing fastball to catch the inside part. Remember now, it's not the pitch, it's how you got there. And Maddux and Berryhill got there superbly then.
So the first out of the inning, the Mets leading 1-0. Runners still at first and second, and Kevin McReynolds the batter. Gets a curveball, fouls it off. McReynolds 0 for 3 in last night's ball game. Overall hitting .282 for the year with 20 home runs, 79 runs batted in. And he's hitting .345 against the Cubs this year with 3 home runs and 13 runs batted in.
Very productive .295 also over his last 50 games. 10 home runs.
And he goes after a high fastball and fouls it off. So Maddux, after walking his first 2 batters, regaining his control and out in front with a 2-strike count. Had a 2-strike count on Keith Hernandez when he singled, got a hit of Strawberry and struck him out, now ahead of McReynolds. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Greg Maddux lives in Las Vegas, Nevada. Ground ball to shortstop, fielded by Dunston, and they get one, but not the other. Dunston having to wait, and a good job on the ball as Greg Jeffries sort of screened off Dunston.
High choppers are great for executive travel, but not for double plays. And this is a high chopper, not a skidder. Trio, one of the best at turning the double play and just daring that runner to take him out. He rarely cheats on the bag, but he will use that bag to protect him, as he did there. But that ball was just chopped too high to Dunston.
Trio holds the record of 89 games without an error while playing second base.
He can play second base.
He handled 419 consecutive chances without an error. That also a record. There's a base hit to right field as Howard Johnson jumps on the fastball. Jeffries comes in to score. Going to third is McReynolds, and now Johnson caught in a rundown play, and now it will be McReynolds in the rundown. Berryhill throwing to the third baseman, Salazar, and he runs him down.
Bad base running by Johnson.
We saw some bad base running last night by the Cubs. And right here, the Mets are out of the inning. They do get 2 runs on 2 hits. And 1 man left on base to score at the end of 1/2 inning. The Mets 2 and the Cubs coming up. Now here's a word from 14-3 against the Cubs lifetime.
Lineup for the Cubs: Mitch Webster leading off, followed by Manny Trio. Sandberg scratched. Mark Grace hitting third. Right fielder Andre Dawson hitting fourth. Rafael Palmeiro batting fifth. Damon Berryhill hitting sixth. Sean Dunston, the shortstop, hitting 7th. Angel Salazar batting 8th. And the pitcher, Greg Maddux, batting 9th.
And for the Mets, it'll be Hernandez at first, Jeffries at second, Elster at shortstop, Johnson at third. In the outfield, McReynolds, Wilson, and Strawberry left to right. Lyons the catcher, and Gooden, of course, the pitcher.
Why is it good to hit the cutoff man? Well, Howard Johnson gets the base hit to right field, and watch Andre Dawson back to fundamentals. That wins a lot of ball games. He hits the cutoff man, and you hit the cutoff man to get your throw better as one, and also to give the trail runner a chance to make a mistake, and that's what Howard Johnson did. At scoring 96325. Sounds like a late 50s phone number, doesn't it, Ralph? You remember when it was
Right.
5.
That's right.
5 did Barry Hill 96325.
And it's Barry Hill to lead it off. I mean, Mitchell to lead it, Webster to lead it off, and the throw down to first base by Jeffries in time for the out. Webster hitting .261 before the out with 5 home runs, 30 runs batted in. Had to bring up Manny Trio. Manny Trio was originally in the lineup at third base. When Sandberg was scratched, he was moved to second, and Salazar was put in at third. Trio hitting .225. 1 home run, 8 runs batted in.
I'll go out on the limb again with you and Steve. If he pulls a high fastball off Gooden to the left to second base, brunch is on me Sunday in Montreal. It's something different. You know? I was down.
That was down. He hits it out to right center field. Mookie Wilson over to make the play. We got 3 to go.
See, the reason, yeah, you do. That's right. But that's off Gooden now, not off anybody. Okay, that's off Gooden. But the reason I say brunch is we're going to have a chance for brunch on Sunday because the game's been moved back. We're on the air at 3 o'clock.
Old timers game in Montreal.
Yeah, we'll be on the air at 3 o'clock that day. You and Steve and I can go out and have brunch. You like brunch, don't you?
In Montreal. Mark Grace is the batter. And Grace takes the first pitch for strike 1. Grace hitting .293, 6 home runs, 48 RBIs. Good curveball, strike 2. Grace has the unusual distinction of not gracing home plate on a home run in this ballpark.
Weird, isn't it? All 6 home runs on the road.
This a home run haven. He fouls that pitch off. Keeps the count at strike 2.
Yeah, you'd think the opposite would be true.
All of them here. 2 strikes to count. Gooden back with a fastball. 1 and 2. Gooden came into this game with 145 strikeouts. Goes to the curveball again.
Look at that fan. He just reached over and snagged that one hopper back there. Good hands. Not that easy.
He made it look easy, and Grace makes it look easy. His rookie year, he's hitting .293 in the top 10. Fastball 2 and 2.
Yeah, well, anybody could do it with a glove like that. I don't think I've ever seen a left-handed fan.
Topped out to the first base side. Tough play. Hernandez to Gooden, and Gooden misses the bag at first base. We're going to have an argument.
Well, the big thing is to get Gooden out of there. Doc has a very bad temper. You rarely see that. But if he thinks he's right, he won't argue with the home plate umpire. But on base hits and on touching first base bags, he will argue. And Davey out there quickly to get Doc out of there.
Well, did he touch the bag or didn't he?
Great play by Hernandez. Pirouette, the throw back. He stumbles. Well, Doc is saying that the side of his foot touched the bag. It had to be the side of the foot. Let's see again. Well, from that angle, you can't tell, but from Dave, that's the angle Dave Pallone had.
Here's another angle.
Steve Zabriskie just fired up a note saying Pallone again, naturally.
Of course, Paloma was the umpire when Pete Rose was involved in the argument at first base and got suspended for 30 days. And the fastball outside as you look at Andre Dawson. They are crediting Mark Grace with a base hit. Dawson 0 for 4 last night. And the fastball for a ball. Dawson overall hitting .305 for the year with 22 home runs, 73 runs batted in. Against Doc Gooden, he's hitting .293 lifetime with 4 home runs. Ball getting away from Lyons. Holding the first base is Grace. Back in 1984, Gooden pitched a one-hitter against the Cubs. A base hit by Moreland in the 5th inning.
That was at Shea Stadium in September because the Open was going on, and John McEnroe asked Maury Allen, who was the official scorer. McEnroe played the next day. He said, how can you give Moreland a hit on that play? Ray Knight was the third baseman. Only hit Doc gave up.
McEnroe taking on the umpires and the official scores in this game.
Right.
2-2, the count to Andre Dawson.
I guess the Open will be closed when we return to Shea, right?
Should be closed on Sunday. No longer open. Bouncing ball down the third base side. It'll be a base hit. And Andre Dawson with another infield hit. He gets a lot of it.
Yeah, he's had a lot of them this year. I mean, it's not one of his trademarks, but you do have to play him so deep that usually a third baseman and shortstop, if he gets a chopper like this in his spool, there's no way to get him. He runs too well.
He has had 16 infield hits now as you look at the replay. And that gives you an idea how tough it is to pitch a no-hitter. Two little bleeders like that, and they both go for hits. Grace and Dawson, and now the batter will be Palmeiro. Raphael 4 for 5 last night. And a strikeout. When Palmeiro broke into the major leagues, he went 29 at bats before he swung and missed a pitch. And the first man to make him miss was Doc Gooden, who struck him out. He came back in his next at bat and hit a home run off Gooden. He's had 2 home runs off Gooden in his major league career. High slider, and it's 1-1.
That was in the division clinching game back in 1986. This guy was born to hit.
Has 37 two-base hits. The Cub record is 42, set by Charlie Grimm, as a left-hand batter we're talking about. Grimm with 42 two-base hits in 1932. Remember Charlie? Charlie, a very funny man, a great comedian, great first baseman. At one time, he was a broadcaster for the Cubs and then went down to become the manager. Distinction that Lou Boudreau had.
Jerry Coleman of the Padres.
One and two. Ground ball to the second baseman, Jeffries. And that'll do it. So 2 infield base hits. 2 men left on base. The score at the end of 1. The Mets 2 and the Cubs nothing. And here's a word from the New Jersey Bell Yellow Pages. And it's a hard smash by Lyons, knocked down by Grace. The throw to Maddux, and Barry Lyons, starting as catcher for the Mets, is out. Well, the big news, Tim, today coming out of Montreal. They have selected a new commissioner of baseball. Bart Giamatti will be the commissioner in 1989, replacing Mr. Ueberroth, who served his term and has declined to serve any longer. And a big
There will
meeting.
be no dinners for Peter Ueberroth, however. There will be no charity affairs for Mr. Ueberroth. He will land on his feet somewhere. Effective April 1st, 1989.
He'll land on his feet, probably on a golf course.
Anywhere he wants to.
Outstanding man and fine golfer. Kevin Elster, the batter. Elster hitting .218 with 9 home runs, 36 RBI.
Does that go hand in hand, the character of a man and his golf game?
Absolutely.
That means I'm one of the dregs of the earth, then.
You didn't say that. You play golf.
Yeah, but I
Not
play.
well, but you play.
No, I play.
In fact, you played at the club that Mr. Ueberroth plays at.
Deepdale.
Deepdale. 2 strikes to count to Elster, and he takes a fastball.
Steve Zabriskie points out that Peter Ueberroth is leaving a year early. His contract had extended through 1990, and he is leaving April 1st, 1989. Bart Giamatti, the new commissioner.
That means they'll be looking for a new president of the National League. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The count to Kevin Elster.
Well,
Over 2.
Ron Luciano said you ought to be president of the National League. Have you ever considered that?
I don't think that Ron has a vote, does he? He was trying to sell his book is what he was trying to do.
Are you glad he doesn't have a vote?
I think so. High fly ball to deep left center field. Moving back is Webster, and he makes the catch. Well, the wind blowing out, so anything in the air can go. Maddux sort of breathes a sigh of relief as that high fly ball was handled in center. There's an idea about the velocity of the wind as you check out the flag. Now with 2 men out, the batter will be Doc Gooden. Gooden with 15 hits. And he chops it out toward third base. Fielded it by Salazar. The throw in time, and the Mets go on order. The score at the end of 1.5 innings. The Mets 2 and the Cubs nothing. And here's a word from
McCarver is Captain Noah, and he's been in Philadelphia, gosh, I guess for 35 years, as Damon Berryhill swings and misses at a high fastball. Berryhill with last night's game-winning RBI. He drove in the winning run in the 9th inning, driving in Rafael Palmeiro after the Mets had tied it with 5 runs in the top of the 9th. 2-0 New York. Curveball and a good one. 0-2 to Berryhill.
And it was Berryhill's base hit that broke up a no-hitter by Doc Gooden this year at Shea Stadium. He got it in the 8th with no one out.
Another curve is low, 1-2. How'd you know I sang that song?
I've been checking up on you. Checking out
Don't go back
those
too
library.
far. You might find some things that you can't say on the air. Swing and a miss. Some high gas gets Berryhill. 1 out, and the batter Sean Dunston. First strikeout for Gooden. Doc trying to win his 17th game of the year. Sean Dunston now, he's 4 for 22 lifetime against Gooden. Home run in last night's game, his first against the Mets this year. 0-1, and again he took the first pitch, Ralph.
They've been trying to get him to get some walks and to look at some pitches. He's a wild free swinger and sort of been a part of his check, and there's
like
a reason
that.
why.
Yep,
Yeah.
like that. 0-2 to Dunston. Brooklyn born and bred Sean Dunston, drafted #1 in '82, the #5 draft choice that year, the 5th player chosen, the guy he's facing right now. A ball and 2 strikes to Dunston.
Well, Dunston has walked 12 times this year, and 7 of those walks have been intentional walks. So he's walked only 5 times all year long unintentionally.
Curveball gets him waving weakly at the curveball. So when you get ahead of Dunston, you don't throw him strikes. Gooden didn't, and it's 2 outs.
That's his 100th strikeout of the year. And Gooden gets him with a good sharp breaking curveball that is not in the strike zone.
Good pitch. Here's Angel Salazar. Salazar batting .250. Formerly with the Montreal Expos. Was traded to the Mets, and as a matter of fact came to the Mets from the St. Louis Cardinals for Jose Oquendo. And then he went to Kansas City and played there last year.
Yeah, he's been all over the place. Montreal, St. Louis, the Mets, Kansas City, Cincinnati, released by Cincinnati, and then picked up by the Cubs.
Real name is Argenis Salazar, A-R-G-E-N-I-S, Argenis. Change it to Angel. 1-1 to Angel Salazar. 2-0 New York. We're in the bottom of the second. The Mets head for Montreal. 3-game series up there. Tomorrow night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. We'll be on the air Sunday with the game. A liner up the middle. So Salazar, a 2-out base hit, and it's not as innocent as it may appear because that clears Maddux. And Greg won't have to lead off the bottom of the third now.
And Maddux is a good hitter. He's had 16 hits. You have to go all the way back to 1978 when a Cub pitchers had more than 16 hits. Dave Roberts had 17 in 1978.
Greg did not look like the type of hitter that had pounded out that many hits with that swing. You're watching Mets baseball 88. 0-2 to Maddux on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey.
That was a Woody Herman swing right there. Woodchopper's ball.
Fouled away. Still 0-2. Good play by Lyons. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Greg Maddux. 2 outs, 1 on. We're in the second. 2-0 New York. Misses outside. Lyons almost rolled it back to Gooden. If he had of, Salazar may have taken off for second. No intent to show the umpire up. He just thought the ball was a strike, reacted, but it wasn't. 2-2. Still 2-2. Salazar stops at second. So Maddux, I guess you could say, changed the Woodchopper's ball to the Darktown Strutter's ball. He struts to first.
And he picks up his 17th hit. And he should strut. Right by Keith Hernandez, and now runners at first and second. The Mets leading 2-0. Gets a hands up high and then fights off the inside pitch and gets a base hit the other way. The 3 hits that the Cubs have had, they've had a total of 4, but 3 of them have been off real good pitches.
Mitch Webster takes a curveball high. Ball 1 to Mitch. He grounded to second his first at bat. The first 2 innings similar in that Gooden retired the first 2 batters, but then the next 2 hitters singled. Doc hopes for the same result. Rafael Palmeiro grounded out with 2 on in the first inning. High, ball 2, 2-0.
Webster really happy he's with the Cubs, but for a rather unusual reason. He says, now I don't have to listen to 2 national anthems anymore. Played his entire career in Montreal, where they play both Canadian and American national anthems.
Fouled away, 2-1. It's not a very patriotic thing to say.
lot of those things are said in jest, as you well know.
Yeah, just kidding.
Webster, with 18 infield hits, has beat out 9 bunts, and he'll bunt anytime, even with runners in scoring position.
Inside, ball 3, 3-1 to Webster. How can a guy like Webster named Webster not like 2 national anthems?
Especially when his name is Mitch.
Randy Myers not reading the dictionary down there. There's a strike to Webster, 3-2. Randy usually reads muscle magazines. I don't know what Edwin Nunez is reading. Boy, that's an excited looking bullpen, isn't it?
That's the kind of bullpen you see on a sunny day in Chicago, though.
See more animation than that in church. Three-two, 2 out, so the runners will be moving. Curveball hit to right center field, but Mookie Wilson glasses down and glove up, and he drops the ball. 2-run score, Webster to third, and once more Wrigley Field has come up and bitten the Mets. You could almost see that coming the way Wilson went about it. An error on Mookie Wilson.
Well, Mookie has sunglasses, as you can see, and he had plenty of time to move around to get the sun out of the flight of the ball. But he doesn't do it. It hits him on the glove. It's scored as a 2-base error, and the ball game is tied. And as Tim pointed out, everything has happened to the Mets here at Wrigley Field this year.
Ralph, I've never seen outfielders like Wilson and Strawberry have as much problems with the sun as they do. It's as though it's a miracle catch when they catch one looking up to the sun. High and tight to Trio. Webster at third, 2 out. I mean, there are guys that do catch the ball when the sun's out.
Oh, yes.
Seems like Strawberry and Wilson in particular have all sorts of problems catching a ball in the sun. Curveball is high. 2 balls and no strikes. Foul back. 2 balls and a strike to Trio. 2-2 now, as Salazar and Maddux both scored on the 3-base error by Mookie Wilson. Curveball is inside. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, the Mets led yesterday 2-0, scoring 2 in the first, and then lost the game 9-8. And again, the Cubs coming back from a 2-run deficit.
Mark Grace on deck. Line drive, base hit, Trio to left field. The Cubs take the lead as the ball gets by McReynolds. Trio's going to try to go to third. Safe at third. So an RBI and another error, a rare error on Kevin McReynolds.
Well, 2 big errors in the inning. But Mookie's, of course, the big one. All 3 runs that have scored have gone on the unearned column as the ball gets through. Kevin McReynolds, he is charged with an error. That'll be a single and a 2-base error.
Ball 1 to Mark Grace, who had an infield hit in the first inning. That's only the 2nd error all year against Kevin McReynolds, and Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach, wants to talk to Doc Gooden. All of the runs unearned in this inning, of course. Three to 2 Cubs. He might be putting the drops in the wrong eyes.
Manny Trio with that head first slide in the third must have picked up some dirt.
1-0 to Grace. Gooden from the windup. Strike on the corner. 1-1 to Mark Grace. He threw that ball. That was his best fastball of the afternoon.
Oh,
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Gooden's got to be hot.
Curveball, loop to left, base hit. Trio scores. It's now 4-2. Good hitting by Mark Grace.
Well, he gets a curveball, and Gooden throwing his curve extremely hard today. Not much differential between the fastball and curve. Grace just pops it out into left field, and another unearned run scores.
That's just good hitting right there. If you're not in position to handle the outside part of the plate, you never get a hit like that. RBI number 49 for Grace. Dawson now. Tapper, Gooden again. Bare hand, and he got it. 4 runs on 4 hits, 2 big errors, both contributing to 3 of the 4 runs. It's 4-2 Cubs after 2. We're back after this from Michelob Light.
In 1.3 billion years, our sun will burn out, leaving us in total darkness. We say it's never too early to stock up for the big night. Shouldn't your night belong to Michelob Light?
You're looking at the electromotive Nissan GTP race car. With over 700 horsepower, it recently set the all-time record for consecutive wins in a season against competition like Porsche, Jaguar, and Corvette. If Nissan can build a car to win this kind of race, imagine what kind of car we can build for the most important race of all. The human race.
The answers to your long-distance questions are never more than a phone call away.
Just give me the dates. And don't worry, we'll solve it.
AT&T customer representatives are always ready to help you with information on bills, discounts, and the AT&T card. And you can call on their experience 24 hours a day.
Thanks. One less thing that I have to think about.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
Who flies overnight letters for just $8.75? Watch the birdie. Express mail overnight service from your post office. Who drops by to pick up your overnight packages every day? You know us well. Express mail overnight service. When we say overnight, we mean overnight.
Sundown, Luke! I'm calling you out! Luke!
Since 1896, some men have preferred to spend their nights in more rewarding pursuits.
Luke!
Shouldn't your night belong to Michelob Light?
Luke!
Mookie Wilson on the first pitch, grounds to third for the first out here in the third. Easy play by Salazar. And the next batter, Greg Jeffries, who walked and scored a run in the first. 4-2 Chicago. We're in the top of the third inning. Outside, ball 1. To Greg Jeffries. Greg growing up just south of San Francisco, right in the San Mateo, California area. What an impression he's made. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Greg. Keep in mind that almost all of the pitchers that he's facing for the first time. Curveball is low, 2-2.
What really makes him a standout prospect is the fact that he has such good technique in hitting. Very short swing, gets the bat in the ball from a short distance.
Hit to right center field, but Mitch Webster's over and he makes the play.
Well, that's about the same area that Mookie lost the ball in the sun, hit his glove, went for a 2-base, make it 3-base error. That ball not quite as high. And Webster didn't even use the glasses on that one.
Keith Hernandez now. Keith, an RBI single in the first inning. RBI number 50, the half-century mark for Hernandez. 2 outs, nobody on. 4-2 Cubs here in the third inning. No balls, 1 strike to Keith Hernandez. Venerable Wrigley Field. Play 8 night games this year and then no more than 18 for the next 15 years through the year 2002. The Mets have the distinction of playing in the first official night game here at Wrigley Field. The first scheduled night game was rained out. The Phillies and the Cubs on August 8th. Line drive, base hit. You talk about technique. How about the head on that curveball? That was a good curveball.
Low outside curveball, and Keith just put a perfect move on it. Watch where the eyes are at contact. Oh, that's perfect.
You get a painting of that, you'd make a lot of money. Where's Leroy Neiman when you need him? Here's Strawberry. Struck out on an inside fastball his first at bat, and he pops it up. Salazar near the stands. You got to really stay with those balls if you're an infielder, because that wind could blow one back to you when you least suspect it. 0-1 to Strawberry.
Salazar really gave up in that ball, and it was coming back. It just did get into the stands.
Couple of rows in, not deep at all. Inside, ball 1. 1-1. All Strawberry has to do with his strength is get the ball in the air. It'll shoot out of this bandbox
anywhere.
He got it up in the air, deep left center. Palmeiro back. Just what we were saying. 4-4 now. Bandbox it is. You're salivating, aren't you? You want to be down there hitting, don't you? I see that look in your eye.
That's all he had to do, because that wind's blowing out 20 miles an hour. You just get it in the air and it'll ride. Darrell had not had a home run against the Cubs all season long here at Wrigley Field until last night. Now he has his second against them here. And that ball really just a fly ball, and the wind just takes it out into left center field. It's about 370 where that ball goes in.
Only the 10th home run of the year given up by Maddux, and Kevin McReynolds takes a strike. RBIs number 85 and 86 for Darrell. It's now a 4-4 ball game.
That might be the last pitch Strawberry sees in this game. That's in the strike zone.
Hittable, huh? I mean, he was jammed on that pitch.
Yep.
He's just so strong, he can overpower good pitches, and that's what he did then. Pitch was inside. This one lifted to center. Back is Dunston. It's going to be a tough play for Dunston, and he makes it. How in the world can an outfielder, or I was going to say, how can he allow Dunston to catch it, and Palmeiro made the catch? I thought Dunston did. Anyway, 4-4 after 2.5. We're back after this from Ivory Soap.
Just give me honest work at honest pay, honest sweat from honest play, and when I'm through, that's when I'll say, I want my clean as real as ivory. It's gotta be 99.44. I want my clean as real as ivory. Nothing less, nothing more.
If you're looking for the real clean you can only get from a pure soap, you want Ivory.
It's gotta be pure, that's for sure. I want my clean as real as ivory.
Nobody tells it like the Daily News.
You know what? There's some people out there who say I'm controversial. And you know what else? They're right.
New York's hometown favorite.
Mets fans, here's an extra special offer just for you. Start 1989 in style aboard the QE2 with Mets players, coaches, and broadcasters. Yes, it's the world's premier cruise ship, the Queen Elizabeth II, departing New York City on January 3rd, sailing to Bermuda, St. Thomas, St. Martin, and other Caribbean islands, and returning to New York on January 13th. Included will be autograph and photo sessions, behind-the-scenes insights, and much more, all for no extra charge above the retail price. For more cruise information, call 1-800-732-7000.
Well, Mets fans, the timing of this one could not be better. It's Snapper Sports Watch Night on Wednesday, September 14th, when the Mets take on the Chicago Cubs at 7:35 p.m. Every fan attending that evening's game will receive a deluxe sports watch courtesy of Snapper and the New York Mets. Don't miss out on this one. It's just in time for the pennant race.
Here's that last play one more time. I thought Dunston caught the ball, Ralph.
I still do. Goes right by his glove and into the glove of Palmeiro, and he just does get it.
Fine play by Palmeiro. Steve Garland was talking to Kevin McReynolds. There's Steve, now the trainer of the Mets, head trainer, talking to Davey Johnson. He was talking to Kevin McReynolds, and it looked like McReynolds was pointing to his right eye. We don't know exactly what that was, but if it's serious, we'll tell you more about it. Rafael Palmeiro takes a strike. Rafi grounded to second in the first inning. 4-4 game, bottom of the third. Little looper to left center. Wilson over, and he makes the play. Palmeiro jammed on that, and he'd have hit that ball to the warning track, and Mookie doesn't catch it. So this game, folks, stay tuned. We saw a 23-10 game won by Ron Darling last year, the last time the Mets played here.
Everything's an adventure in the air here in this ballpark. That time the sun not a factor for Mookie, as he was in left center field, the sun a factor in right center.
Damon Berryhill, the catcher, takes a ball low. Berryhill struck out in the second inning. The Cubs scoring 4 unearned runs after 2 were out, nobody on in the second. Another curve outside. 2-0 to Damon. Two and one. Real cute story floating around Wrigley Field yesterday. And you can credit Steve Stone, who works with Harry Carey on the WGN broadcast, for a cute line. This one fouled away, 2-2. The Cubs' #1 draft choice last year was a pitcher by the name of Mike Harkey. He started 1 game. He's from Southern California. And Stone, citing interest by the California Angels, said that if you were a member of that ball club, you would have been Harkey, the heralded angel. Liner to center. Mookie again makes the play. 2 outs. So credit Steve Stone with a beauty.
Steve, a former Cy Young Award winner.
1980 with the Baltimore Orioles. Harkey, the heralded angel.
Last year he pitched, I should say this season, before coming up to the Cubs, he pitched at Pittsfield where he was 9-2 and at Iowa where he was 7-2.
He's a fine prospect, we understand. Here's Sean Dunston, and again, he takes a curveball. Last night, he took a strike every time up, and he did the same the first time this afternoon. Up, he's swinging there. So it's 1-1 to Sean. Sean, a Mets fan growing up in Brooklyn. You'd expect either a Mets or a Yankee fan growing up in New York. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike.
At Thomas Jefferson High School in Brooklyn, he batted .790 as a senior.
Fouled away, 2-2.
Gooden has retired his first 2 batters in every inning that he has pitched.
Tapper foul. That's right. And then he stranded 2 in the first inning after 2 infield hits. We understand that they make that 1 infield hit because the ball formerly given to Mark Grace as a base hit in the first inning was charged as an error on Dwight Gooden. So the Mets have made 3 errors in 2 2/3 innings.
And they made 3 last night. They're no longer #1 in the fewest errors in the National League. They have dropped to the 2nd position.
High, ball 3, 3-2. The Mets 4, the Cubs 4. Bottom of the 3rd. Foul back. True to Ralph's prediction, you can't walk him unless you do it intentionally. Got to take that into consideration when you're a catcher. I know that's how you work a guy. If the guy's a free swinger, why give him a pitch at which to swing in the strike zone?
It's hard enough to hit the pitches in the strike zone. When you start chasing them out of the strike zone, it becomes that much more difficult.
High fastball is fouled back. There's Popeye. This is his 4th major league club that he has managed. Managed the Boston Red Sox, the Texas Rangers. Fly ball to left field and an easy play for Kevin McReynolds and an easy inning for Dwight Gooden. 4-4 after 3. Steve joins Ralph after this from Meta Copiers.
Top of the 4th, and as we continue with the action, to take you along the way, Steve Zabriskie.
Thanks a lot, Ralph, and a good afternoon to you all as Howard Johnson leads it off. Ojo, who singled his first time up, gets a base hit down the right field line, and he's going for 2. Dawson has a great arm, and he's in there. Ojo with a head-first slide just beat the throw by Dawson as he leads off the 4th inning with a double.
Well, Johnson out of the batter's box at full speed, and that turns it into a 2-base hit. Big gamble with no one out. Tie ball game at 4. Dawson over there does throw very, very well. And the head first slide gets him in there ahead of the tag by Sean Dunston. So the Mets get their 5th hit. They have the go-ahead run at 2nd with no one out, and Barry Lyons coming up.
Ojo now 2 for 2. Lyons grounded to first his first time up. Maddux took a little too much time, so Lyons stepped out. He's taken a lot of time. Breaking ball stays inside for ball one. This is a famous date in Mets history, Ralphie. Either famous or infamous. No, I guess it's famous.
September 8th.
Yes. A very pivotal game took place during the 1969 season. Curveball lofted into short left field. Dunston broke as if he was going to go deep, but then made the play. 1 out. Well, today's game being brought to you in part by the Good Olds guys, your New York, New Jersey, and Southern Connecticut Oldsmobile dealers. 1 out for Kevin Elster, who flied out to center field his first time up. Elster just 8 hits in his last 48 at bats.
Pray tell, what took place on September the 8th, 1969?
There was a game between the Mets and the Cubs in that infamous year for the Cubs and that amazing year for the Mets. And at that point in the season, the Mets were 2.5 games behind Chicago, and the Cubs were playing the Mets at Shea. Time called. Maddux has taken a lot of time, and Elster, the last second, asked for time. Wayne Garrett got a base hit to score Tommy Agee from second base on a controversial play at the plate. It was a 3-2 Mets win, and that was the 3rd run of the ball game for New York. And of course, the Mets went on to down low, ball 1, overtake Chicago and win it. And it also happened to be the day before Black Cat Day.
I was going to say Black Cat Day.
Yeah, that was September 9th, apparently.
Black Cat Day. The cat came out from underneath the stands, walked over in front of the Cubs bench, stood right in front of Leo DeRocher, put the hex on it.
And at that point, the Cubs were leading by 1.5 games. And as everybody knows, the Mets won it. Maddux stepping off again, and now Berryhill's going to go out there because this is getting ridiculous. But that controversial play at the plate with Agee scoring on Garrett's base hit was a big argument, rhubarb, if you will. Frank DiPino up and throwing in the Chicago bullpen now, and Greg Maddux really has not had the good stuff since the word go. But as you and Timmy pointed out earlier, Ralph, he's really had 2 seasons before the All-Star break and then after.
1-4 after the All-Star break with 5 no decisions and 15-3 before.
In the dirt, blocked by Berryhill. So Howard Johnson remains at second, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to Kevin Elster.
The only game that he has won since the All-Star break was against the Mets here at Wrigley Field on August the 10th, and he won that game 6-5 and worked only 5 2/3 innings, giving up 6 hits on the afternoon and allowing 4 runs.
So what you're saying, he was lucky to win that one?
Yeah, not too good of a performance.
Now it's 3-0 to Elster. Maddux walked 2 in the first inning. In fact, the first 2 hitters of the ball game, Mookie Wilson and Greg Jeffries, and they both scored as Hernandez drove in Wilson, and later Johnson drove in Jeffries. Three and 1. It's 4-4 here in the top of the 4th. Mets with 2 in the first and 2 in the third, and the Chicago runs all came in the second inning, and all 4 were unearned. The Mets have committed 3 errors in this game, 2 of them in that second inning. Strike called. Elster thought it was ball 4, but it's 3-2. The doctor on deck. into third. Salazar holds Johnson and throws out Elster. 2 gone. Ojo still at second. And Angel, a last-minute replacement in the lineup.
Well, the ball clearly a fair ball, so Elster is out. His only hope would be that it was a foul ball.
Vance Law, the regular third baseman, has been given the day off and maybe even a few days off by Don Zimmer. Gooden hits it to short. Easy play for Dunston. And the Mets fail to cash in on the leadoff double by Howard Johnson. 1 hit, 1 left. After 3.5, it's still 4-4 at Wrigley. And we're back after this for the good old Skies.
He knows every 1988 Olds must be cleaned out to make room for the 89s. So he knows if he gets there first, he gets the Oldsmobile he wants for a low clean-out price, like this new Cutlass Supreme.
Sorry, first dibs.
Or this Cutlass Calais Quad 4.
Too late, pal.
And now you know. You can get the Olds you want for a low clean-out price. Only if you get there first.
From your good old guy.
Decide for yourself. You decide. You know it's up to you. Decide for yourself. No matter what the world may say. Decide for yourself. Gotta live like your way. Decide for yourself.
DHL presents international shipping. Sending important packages to faraway places can be full of surprises if you ship with someone who doesn't know his way around. What? Instead, call DHL, the world's express company. We've delivered more packages overseas than all other express companies combined. Shipping with anyone else can be a little unsettling.
Something apparently is wrong with Kevin McReynolds as Mookie Wilson now moves from center field to left field, and into the game in center field, Len Dykstra. Earlier, you may have seen trainer Steve Garland talking to Kevin McReynolds in the outfield prior to the start of the last inning. So we'll try to get a report from the ubiquitous Jay Horwitz. He's everywhere. He covers everything. I'm sure he'll be in here momentarily to let us know. It couldn't be very serious, Ralph, I wouldn't think, because McReynolds was out there after he talked to Steve Garland. Salazar will lead it off here in the bottom half of the fourth for Chicago. Angel will be followed by Greg Maddux and Mitch Webster. Manny Trio was originally scheduled to play third base for Vance Law, but Ryan Sandberg was a late-minute scratch with a knee problem as Salazar takes high. So Salazar was inserted at third and Trio moved to second. Fastball fouled away, 1-1. Vance was telling me before the game this morning that after last night's game, a game in which he did not exactly perform the way he wanted to at the plate, Don Zimmer took him aside and said that he thought that he needed a little rest. He'd been playing every day and having a good year, and he didn't want him to have it all go down the drain in the last 3 weeks without some time off.
Yeah, he was the only one not to get on base in the entire lineup, including the pitcher. Cubs coming up with a win by a score of 9-8 with 15 hits.
There's Vinny, as they call him, sitting next to Rick Sutcliffe.
Just because his name is Vance, they call him Vinny.
That's right. You know that story.
That's
I'm
a
sure.
good story.
It's a great story. Of course, in that family, if you call somebody a name that begins with V, you got a good shot, as Salazar takes strike 3. And Gooden has now struck out 3.
Even their dog has a name that starts with a V.
Victor. Victor the dog. Lance, of course, is the son of Vernon Law, and all of their kids, Vernon's wife and the dog, have names that begin with V.
Vernon and Velita. And he has a brother named Veldon, a brother named Verl, a brother named Vaughn, and a brother named Barlin. He has a sister named Volinda, and his dog's name is Victor.
Timmy says the dog's first name is RCA. That's a good one. That is, of course, on another network, as they say. They don't use that, his master's voice anymore, I don't think, that statue of the dog. Greg Maddux fouls it off. 1-2. So if you have anything monogrammed in that house, you just put VL on it and forget it. Then you fight over who it belongs to. Chopper to second. Jeffries will have to hurry. No. Maddux, who looks like he could still be in high school, runs very well.
Well, Greg plays the ball fairly slowly, and Maddux, a pitcher, just hustles down the line, and they call him safe, although it looked like he had the ball in time to be an out call.
So it'll go as an infield base hit. And here's Mitch Webster, and he punches the first one high in the air in left center field. Both Dykstra and Wilson there, and again a problem with the sun. First it looked like there was going to be a collision, and then Dykstra had to make a last-minute adjustment to come up with the ball. 2 out.
This shouldn't be in the sun. Sun having its course around from left to center, now in right center and right field, and Strawberry's got the problem now, as Dykstra did make the play.
Two out for Manny Trio, who is 1 for 2 with an RBI base hit and a run scored.
From the angle of the shadows on the flags, you can see that the sun is really right in right center field now, so anything hitting the right center would be a problem.
Curveball, and a good one for strike 1. On the corner with a fastball, strike 2. We have to watch Trio closely today, Ralph. It could mean a free brunch. Timmy has said that if he pulls a Gooden fastball, or did he qualify it by saying high fastball?
He did say high.
High fastball anywhere to the left side of second base. We're eating free on Sunday. And we're having brunch because they moved that game on Sunday to a 3 o'clock start. In case you hadn't heard, Mets in Montreal. It'll be our next telecast here on Channel 9. 3 p.m. airtime from the Big O Sunday afternoon. Breaking ball too low, 2-2. They did that because they're going to have an old timers game Sunday afternoon prior to the start of the regular game. Timmy says no, they really did it so we could have brunch.
Very accommodating.
So I guess he's looking for Trio to pull one here. Breaking ball, strike 3, and the inning is over. Infield hit and 1 left in the 4th for Chicago. Still 4-4 after 4. Back after this for AT&T.
You can depend on AT&T long distance thanks to the remarkable people who put our equipment to the test.
I love wrecking things. This is a special laboratory. Here we create disasters. One disaster right after another. Why do we do all this? Once we understand how these things can destroy long-distance service, we can build equipment that'll stand up to it.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer.
Yeah, the storm's over.
AT&T, the right choice.
Come on, along, and head for the mountains of Bush. Big, head for the mountains. It's cold and it's smooth, and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush. Big, Bush, big.
Comprehensible communication is a most admirable attribute of metropolitan life. The MetLife representative is one to whom one may address inquiries about the arcana of daily existence. For adequate explication of moot and abstruse issues, free of psychobabble and obfuscation, acquire Met, it remunerates.
On my next show, you're going to meet all-star cast of sex fiends and perverts. We just decided to have them all on at one time, so you better bring your overcoats.
A view of the near north side out here by Wrigley Field. And as we go to the 5th inning of a 4-4 tie, I must tell you a wonderful story about my 4-year-old daughter, Amy. Mookie Wilson leads it off. And takes the ball. Amy's birthday was a week ago Monday, August 29th, and all she wanted for her birthday, she's our youngest, she was 4, was a pair of goldfish. High and away, ball 2. So we took her to the pet store, and she picked out the goldfish and the bowl and the whole schlemiel. And we asked her what she was going to name her goldfish. Base hit left field, a rope. And Mookie leads off with his first hit. And number 6 for New York. Well, the name that Amy came up with, the names for the 2 fish, Ralph Kiner and Tim McCarver. Now that's got to be on a par, Ralphie, with being selected to the Hall of Fame, I would think. Have a fish named after you.
Yeah, but I understand one of us met with a very difficult circumstance.
That's right. You didn't make it past the 2nd day, but there's a new Ralph. I want you to know there's a new Ralph.
Replaced.
You've been replaced, but it's still named after you. Jeffries with a hard foul for strike 1. Greg is 0 for 1. He walked and scored in the 1st inning, and he lined out to Mitch Webster in right center in the 3rd. Probably never had a fish named after you before, huh?
That's the first time.
Hey, you're right in there with a fish called Wanda.
I thought that was going to be your story. And she ate Wanda.
Well, I've seen the movie, and so have you, but Amy hasn't, so a fish named Wanda wouldn't mean anything to her. Ripped to right, a base hit. Wilson will stop at second as Dawson charged it, and it was also hit like a rocket. So the Mets with something going in the 5th inning as the first 2 hitters singled.
And that's going to be all for Maddux. Here comes Don Zimmer out to take out his pitcher, and again a good swing by Greg Jeffries as he knocks Greg Maddux out of the box with a single. He's 1 for 2 today, was 2 for 5 yesterday, and Maddux leads this ball game with no chance to pick up a victory and a chance to be on the losing side.
So Frank DePino will replace him. Nobody out. 2 on for New York in the 5th inning, and we're back after this for Western Union.
Harry, if you don't want to end up in court, you better send a child support.
I'm calling about your son Grover. You better send money. His ski trip's over.
Send the money now, you dig? Or we won't make our next gig.
To send someone money fast, come to Western Union. We'll make sure it gets to any of our 10,000 locations, usually in 15 minutes or less.
Cruising.
Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
No matter how you drive your engine clean with Mobile Super Unleaded Detergent Gasoline. It can unclog fuel injectors and keep your entire fuel intake system clean. Drive your engine clean with Mobile Super Unleaded. High octane with a plus. Get a free Jets or Giants glass with every fill-up of 8 gallons or more of Mobile Super Unleaded Plus.
This fall on Channel 9.
Frank Tapino with a record of 2-3, the new pitcher. Very high ERA at 5. He has walked 25, struck out 61, given up 86 hits in 75 2/3 innings. He has had 5 saves, and he has finished 19 ball games.
And Frank, the left-hander in there, because the next 2 hitters are Keith Hernandez and Darryl Strawberry, and then Len Dykstra would follow. So 3 left-handers in a row, and Hernandez 2 for 2. A pair of singles, an RBI, and a run scored. Right up the middle, but there's the second baseman. Trio on to Dunston in time for the double play. And on the double play, Wilson moves over to third base. Now with 2 out. Pretty effective 1 pitch.
1 pitch to get 2. Good job by Trio to handle the tough hop, and then from there on it's academic.
Manny can still play that second base.
Made only 2 errors in his last 94 ball games.
Here's Darryl Strawberry. Hit his 33rd home run in the 3rd, a 2-run shot. And he takes outside ball 1. Darryl struck out in the 1st inning, so he's 1 for 2. Misses the low one. 1 ball, 1 strike. Darryl's home run, only his 13th hit in his last 61 at bats. Ground ball off Dunston's glove and into left field. Wilson scores, and the Mets take the lead 5-4. It was a hard hit ball. We'll see how they score it.
Vance Law, the third baseman for the Cubs, was really complaining about the dirt here at Wrigley Field. He said that it has become extremely clumpy. And we've seen a lot of balls that have not been fielded cleanly. And they're scoring that as a base hit, so that'll be an earned run, and it will go against the record of Greg Maddux. He now becomes a pitcher record in the losing side of the game. And Strawberry gets a base hit.
And an RBI, so Darryl has driven in 3 of the 5 runs. He now has 87 RBIs, and here's Len Dykstra to hit for the first time. Dykstra inserted in center field, and Wilson moved to left field when Kevin McReynolds was removed from the game, and we're still waiting a report on Mac's condition. Len hitting .278. And he hits it well. Well, not really that well. Fooled me, but not Mitch Webster, and the inning is over. But the Mets get a run on 3 hits here in the 5th inning to break the 4-4 tie. And we'll go to the bottom of the 5th with New York now leading 5-4. After this, for DHL Courier.
DHL presents international shipping. Some express companies have just started shipping overseas, and it takes a while to get into the swing of things, like borders, languages, and customs. But DHL's been dealing with all that for 20 years, and you'll find getting a package through customs is a lot easier when you ship with someone who knows the ropes. DHL, the world's express company.
It takes concentration and a steady hand. It's called focus. At Manufacturers Hanover, we focus our global resources to give you intelligent choices. Because today, it's not enough to hit the target. You've got to be able to do it again and again.
Come on, New York City. Do that kick. Help kick. This counts on a kick. The goodness of milk makes the apples tick. Help kick. This counts on a kick. New York pours it on real tall. Getting protein and vitamins and loving it all. Kick, 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 kick. Milk. Up and down the avenue, they're doing that kick. New York's favorite. Taxi. Help kick. Milk.
A side of the Olympic story too hot to tell until now. See the New York television premiere, The King of the Olympics, The Lives and Loves of Avery Brundage.
Here at Wrigley Field, where the Mets have taken a 5-4 lead. We're going to the bottom half of the 5th inning, and here to call it for you once again, Ralph Kiner.
All right, Steve, and the leadoff batter for the Cubs will be Mark Grace. Mark 1 for 2 in this game. Originally he was 2 for 2, but the official score changed the scoring on his infield grounder back in the 1st inning. It originally was scored as an infield hit when Dwight Gooden failed to touch the bag. It was changed to an error to Gooden, and the first pitch to Grace is hit to the shortstop Elster, and on 1 pitch, 1 away.
Let's check out the Nissan National League scoreboard. Boy, a lot of scores to give you today. As usual, when you're in Wrigley Field in the middle of the week, everybody else is playing at night. That's the way it's going to be. Montreal, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Cincinnati, San Diego, Houston at LA, and Atlanta at San Francisco. You can see that some of these games are in the top half of the later inning, and others are in the bottom half of the later inning.
And the first pitch to Andre Dawson in there, called strike. Dawson with an infield base hit in 2 at-bats.
Timmy says that scoreboard looks like a promo for Bob Costas's new show.
Later. Good curveball there. Big breaking curveball, strike 2. Buckled Dawson.
That was the Lord Charles right there instead of the Uncle Charlie.
Goes to the fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, one thing, Mr. Zabriskie, I'd like to know if you've ever had your hand-eye coordination checked out. Hard smash, and what a play by Keith Hernandez. Gooden on the race. This time he touches the bag, and Dawson is out, and what a play by Keith Hernandez.
Well, whether or not I've had mine checked out just became a moot point, because I don't know of anybody who's got better hand-eye coordination than this guy right here. We've seen Keith make so many great plays, certainly long before he became a Met even. Dawson just smokes this ball the other way. I mean, hammers it. Look at this wicked hop. And Hernandez with those soft hands and the ability to anticipate the ball's movement and flight is right there with him. I mean, he made that look easy. That ball was wicked.
Now Rafael Palmeiro, the batter, and he fouls off the fastball. Palmeiro 0 for 2.
Jay Horwitz came in and gave us a report on Kevin McReynolds. Apparently he has come down with some type of a virus.
This ball driven down the right field line, but it curves foul.
Kevin was complaining of dizziness and double vision, which is one reason why he was pointing to his eye when Steve Garland was talking to him in the outfield. So they removed Kevin from the game, and the diagnosis is that he has, during the course of the day, he's come down with some type of virus.
This ball hit hard up the middle, and Palmeiro gets another base hit. 4 for 5 yesterday, 1 for 3 today, and again it comes with 2 men out.
That's the 7th hit for Chicago. And a lot of young players, when they come up as hitters in the big league, struggle against the breaking ball. Palmeiro is not one who has struggled with the breaking ball. Hence his average at 309 starting the day today. That was not Gooden's best breaking ball, but Palmeiro was right on it.
So that puts the time run at first with 2 men out and brings up Damon Berryhill, who won last night's ball game with a base hit in the 9th inning. Berryhill in this game has struck out and flied to center field. And it's grounded foul. The reason why I asked you about your hand-eye dominance, a couple of doctors said that they have come up with the answer to hitting.
Cross-eyed.
Cross-hand-eye dominance.
Right. I used to hit cross-eyed, actually. That's why I never made it.
That is why you had trouble with all pitches.
Try hitting cross-handed sometime if you really want to have a problem.
They say Hank Aaron started out that way. There's a pitch at the knees that's called a ball, 1 strike. They say that if you have cross hand-eye dominance, and they have checked out baseball players in the major leagues, you'll hit 310. They have averaged 310. Runner goes, and the throw by Lyons bounced to second. And a stolen base by Palmeiro, and that puts the time run at second.
For Palmeiro, his 12th stolen base of the year, and the Cubs have now stolen 14 in a row without anybody being caught. He gets a good jump. The pitch is really tough for Barry Lyons to handle. I mean, it was way up in the strike zone and over his head. He really had no chance to get Palmeiro.
So the runner at second with 2 men out, and the breaking ball hangs outside, 3-1 to Berryhill. On deck batter Sean Dunston. The real key to that hand-eye coordination is to have eyes that are equal from the sighting. Say those that have it equal on both eyes hit 340. And there's a ball strike call, and it's now 3-2.
What they're saying is if you're right-handed and your left eye is your lead eye,
you'll hit 310.
It's better than if you're right-handed and your right eye is your lead eye.
You'll hit 250.
But if you have both eyes that are good,
you can sight with both eyes. You can hit 340. There's one grounded out to Keith Hernandez, and he tosses off to Gooden, covering for the out that retires the side. 1 hit and 1 man left at second base after the stolen base, and the score at the end of 5. The Mets 5 and the Cubs 4. And now here's a word from Busch Beer.
There's no place on earth that I'd rather be than out in the open where it's all plain to see. If it's gonna get done, it's up to you and to me. There's no place that I'd rather be. Head for the mountains of Busch. Head for the mountains of Busch. Come on along. Head for the mountains of Busch. Beer. Head for the mountains. It's cold and it's smooth. It's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Busch. Beer. Head for the mountains of Busch. Head for the mountains of Busch. Beer.
What America looks like. Turn to Carpenter.
Got a crazy schedule? Having trouble finding time to shop during your busy days? Well, have no fear, because Crazy Eddie's here with Moonlight Madness. All great Crazy Eddie superstores will be open this Friday from noon till midnight with incredible sale prices that'll make you glow in the dark. There's going to be hourly specials where the prices get lower and lower as the midnight hour approaches. So see Crazy Eddie this Friday till midnight with prices that are... I might doubtful.
Well, I'll put my dominant eye on this and tell you you're watching Mets Baseball 88. on WWOR-TV, Secaucus, New Jersey. Howard Johnson will lead it off for the Mets. They're leading 5-4. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Johnson with a single and a double in his 2 appearances here today. Now batting from the right-hand side against the left-hander DePino, and the first pitch, strike 1. Frank DePino in relief of Greg Maddux, who is the pitcher of record on the losing side. Maddux going 4 innings, was charged with 5 runs, gave up 7 hits. DePino working his first inning, gave up no runs, and allowed 1 base hit. Off-speed pitch, a ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. Johnson 1 for 3 in last night's ball game, 2 for 2 today. Hit right off the end of the bat. Dunston charging, and he can't get to it, and that should be a base hit.
And it is. So Hojo's 3 for 3. This is just one of those seeing eye jobs. Dunston can't quite get to it, and he did get the end of his glove on it enough to the point where Trio couldn't come up with it as Manny was going the other way.
Johnson hitting 176 right-handed this year before that base hit. That'll bring up Barry Lyons. Lyons 0 for 2. That's grounded out and popped up to the shortstop. 5-4, the New York Mets. Lyons takes the strike. Mets have won 10 of their last 14 games. Throw to first base, and it is close.
DePino with that snap throw almost got Howard Johnson. Well, he just barely got his hand on the bag. Had the throw been more to the runner's side of the bag, and Grace not had to bring the ball across, Hojo probably would have been picked off.
Johnson with a shorter lead, and this ball grounded out to the third base side in foul territory. 2 strikes to count on Barry Lyons. Lyons has been up just 68 times this year. 15 base hits, 6 doubles, 1 triple, and no home runs. Again, Johnson with a shorter lead, and the pitch back, hit hard up the middle, a base hit. Johnson making the turn at second and holding there as Webster gets to it quickly. And the Mets have runners at first and second with no one out.
Good job of hitting by Barry Lyons, and a very good job of playing the outfield by Mitch Webster. When Lyons first hits this ball, it's hard hit, and it takes a little hop off the mound. Now it goes toward left center field, but look at Webster. He's already over there, coming hard all the way, and his reaction, taking nothing for granted. I mean, when you got a shortstop like Dunston, you might have a tendency to think he's going to get to almost anything hit near him. As an outfielder, wait. Webster was right there, and that kept Howard Johnson from going to third.
So runners at first and second and no one out, and Kevin Elster the batter. Kevin is 0 for 2. Cubs are not charging, but they are in a position to defend against the bunt. Now the square around and the pitch taken for a called strike. Elster hitting 8th in the batting order, followed by Dwight Gooden.
Second inning in a row that the Mets have had the first 2 on with nobody out, and the 3rd time in the game they've had the first 2 on with nobody out.
First inning they had 2 walks in their first 2 batters. Then in the 5th, and now here in the 6th. Again, Elster squares and bunts it out to the pitcher. There's a play at third. The throw in the dirt. And it is handled by Salazar. And how he ever caught that ball, no one knows. Eric Gregg making the call of out. So Johnson forced at third base on a terrible throw, but a great play by Salazar to pick it out of the dirt.
Well, this is an extremely close play. Elster gets the bunt down. DePino, being left-handed, makes it easier for him to go to third. Of course, there's no tag necessary as it's a force play. So DePino, being left-handed, fires it. Look where he fires it, right in the dirt. And it's a good call by Eric Gregg as Salazar had the ball and his foot on the bag before Johnson got there. Fine play by Salazar.
So again, the Mets failed to move the runners up on the sacrifice. And that'll bring up Doc Gooden, and he'll probably be bunting. Gooden has grounded out the 2 times he has been up. First baseman Mark Grace moving in front of the runner for a look at the bunt, and there's one bunted in the air and a double play. So the Mets twice attempt the sacrifice and fail both times, and they're out of the inning after having runners at first and second on 2 hits and no one out. 1 man left. The score at the end, 5.5 innings. The Mets 5 and the Cubs 4. Now here's a word from Nissan.
What exactly does Nissan mean by hard body truck? Well, let's say you want a V6 engine. A powerful V6 engine. What exactly does Nissan mean by hard body truck? Well, let's say you want to help someone move.
Decide for yourself. You decide. You know it's up to you. Decide for yourself. No matter what the world may say. Decide for yourself. Gotta live like your way. Decide for yourself.
The answers to your long-distance questions are never more than a phone call away.
Just give me the dates. And don't worry, we'll solve it.
AT&T customer representatives are always ready to help you with information on bills, discounts, and the AT&T card. And you can call on their experience 24 hours a day.
Thanks. One less thing that I have to think about.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
You don't want to talk about these things in terms of individuals, but one of the things that the Mets have to be concerned about collectively is that collectively they have been unable to do the little things. Advance base runners, get a runner home from third with less than 2 out. The kinds of things, even though they're winning, even though they lead by 8 games, that may come back to haunt them in a short series in the postseason. And those little things have been absent for the most part all season long. That inning indicative of that, as both Elster and Gooden tried to move the runners over. Neither could. And with 2 on and nobody out, all of a sudden an unsuccessful sacrifice and a double play, and the inning's over.
Earlier in this ball game in the 4th inning, Johnson led off with a double, and then Barry Lyons popped up at the shortstop. Elster grounded out and Gooden grounded out, and the runner left at second.
They couldn't even get him to third, and it's not a rap at any one particular player. It's just been the way this team has failed really to do those things all year long.
Well, they have overcome it most of the time with great pitching.
And 124 home runs on the year hadn't hurt either.
So Sean Dunston taking the first pitch, as he has every time up. And this time he grounds it in the hole and gets on, and he represents the tying run. So Dunston the base hit as he leads off here in the 6th inning.
I saw Dunston in the clubhouse this morning before the game as he hits his breaking ball at the end of the bat and then flips it away. And I said, how you doing, Sean? He says, just trying to get some pitches. And that's really the story of it. He may have hurt himself, as the trainer and Don Zimmer are both out there at first base talking to him, along with Jose Martinez, the first base coach. So even in the clubhouse this morning, Sean Dunston was thinking about it, just trying to get some pitches. And as you pointed out, he took the first pitch last night every time up, and he's done it again today. Well, apparently he's going to stay in the game, so let's check out the rest of the laters. These are in the American League laters.
They're all in the top half.
That's right. The Nissan scoreboard replete with laters today. These are not quite as far along as they're in the top half. Detroit at New York, Oakland at Kansas City, California at Texas. That's all that's on tap later in the American League.
Detroit in second place, a game back of Boston. Oakland with a magic number 13, leading by 10.5. Now it's Salazar, and the throw to first base as Salazar moves into bunting position. Salazar with a base hit and a strikeout in his 2 appearances. 18 hits in this game, 10 by the Mets. And we're in the bottom half of the 6th inning with no one out. Throw to first base.
I'll tell you, that's tough when a guy may be hurting. So you throw over there, make him dive back into the bag a couple of times. Rub a little salt in that wound.
Mets looking for the sacrifice. And another throw over there. Last night's ball game with the sacrifice almost obvious. The pitcher, Jeff Pico, squared around the bunt, then swung back into hitting position, grounded the ball to third, and Johnson had nowhere to throw it as it froze the infielders. This ball bunted out to Gooden. He has no play at second, so he picks up the out at first, and the Cubs execute a sacrifice. So the tying run moves down to second with 1 man out, and we're going to have a pinch hitter for the pitcher.
Gooden with an easy play, but because the ball hit the ground and bounced so high in the air, Dunston, who runs well, even though he may be hurting, was almost to second base, and Doc only had to play at first.
The pinch hitter is DeCenzo.
Doug DeCenzo, who hadn't been here very long. Cubs called up about 4.
He has started 4 games and has had 10 hits in the 4 games. Made his debut against Cincinnati on September 2nd and had 3 hits in that ball game. He's a switch hitter, and he batted .295 at Iowa with 6 home runs, 49 runs batted in 132 games. From Cleveland, Ohio.
And Timmy points out this is his first major league pinch hitting appearance.
And he takes a fastball for ball 1.
When you're hitting .478 as a starter, there's his average.
Played at Oklahoma State University and was a NCAA College World Series player. His 2 years there. And it was a teammate of Pete Incaviglia. First year out, he batted .333 at Geneva, batted .327 at Winston-Salem. This ball fouled away. And then at Pittsfield in '87, he batted .306. So he has hit well everywhere he's been. Cubs 12th round selection in the June 1985 draft. Doug DeCenzo has good speed. And it's hit off the hands to the shortstop, Elster. Throw to first base in time for the out, and on the play, Dunston goes over to third.
I wonder if they'll start calling him DeSensei. His name's so close to the former major leaguer Doug DeSensei. Might be a good nickname for it. He got down that line in a hurry in his first big league pinch hitting appearance.
The Sensei playing in Japan right now. And that brings up Mitch Webster, and he takes the first pitch for ball one. Webster 0 for 3, but it was his ball that turned the ball game toward the Cubs. Hit a fly ball to center field. Mookie dropped it. He lost it in the sun. Went for a 3-base error, and that set up a 4-run inning. Where if Mookie had caught the ball, no runs would have scored. It was the last out of the inning. Cubs getting 4 earned runs in the second on the drop fly ball by Mookie Wilson. And a fly ball hit foul down the left side out of play. Mookie now in left field gives chase. Mets leading 5-4. The Cubs with a runner at third, 2 men out. Bottom half of the 6th inning. And the fastball fouled back. And Gooden just does miss, and that puts the count at 3-2. The 3-2 pitch to Webster. Breaking ball, ball 4.
Man, those last 2 pitches were so close.
Gooden's first walk in the game that puts runners at first and third with 2 men out. Brings up Manny Trio.
Few words of encouragement for the doctor from the captain.
Trio with a base hit and 3 at bat. Struck out on a curveball his last time up. Got a base hit off the fastball back in the second. And the first pitch in there called strike.
A couple of years ago, Manny Trio was named one of the 10 best dressed men in sports.
Runner-up was Lenny Dykstra.
I don't think Lenny would make the list even today. Although Lenny has improved his
very much so.
wardrobe. Of course, it wouldn't take much.
He has matching shoes now. 1 strike to count to Manny Trio. And Manny has an agent that's rather interesting. Handles all of his financial deals and keeps all the money. His wife. Runner goes, and the throw by Lyons is down there, and staying at third base is Dunston as the Cubs get another stolen base.
That's 15 in a row for Chicago since the last time they had somebody thrown out. Watch Jeffries. He tries to decoy Dunston at third base here. Webster had a huge jump, and Dunston, after falling, turns around a little bit in an effort to make Dunston think that the ball might have gotten by him, but Dunston didn't bite.
One and one the count. And a big swing and a miss as Trio tries to go for the downs and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gooden with a curveball hit up the middle. A base hit, 2 runs will score. And the Cubs take the lead with the big base hit by Manny Trio.
Nothing bigger than a 2-out run-producing base hit. And Manny Trio has had 2 of them in this game now and driven in a total of 3 runs with 2-out base hits. So Dwight Gooden, who had not given up an earned run until this inning, now trails in the game 6-5.
And the batter is Mark Grace. And the fastball fouled away. Mets led 2-0, and the Cubs got the lead, led 4-2. The Mets tied it up on a 2-run home run by Darryl Strawberry, then took the lead in the 5th on an RBI by Strawberry on an infield hit. And now the Cubs got it back. Runner goes. The throw down to second is a good throw, but not in time. And another stolen base.
Trio's 2nd stolen base in as many attempts this year, and the Cubs' 3rd stolen base without anybody being caught this afternoon. And against Dwight Gooden, teams continue to run. And now Bob McClure starts warming up.
Gooden back and missing low in the count. 2 balls, 1 strike. Cubs coming into this game with a ratio of success in stolen bases of 69%. Ground ball to the second baseman, Jeffries. The throw to first base retires his side. But the Cubs get the lead, scoring 2 runs on 2 hits. 1 man left on base. The score at the end of 6 as Tim McCarver joins Steve Zabriskie. It's the Cubs 6 and the Mets 5. And here's a word from Busch Beer.
Vance Law enters the game at third base, and the third baseman who started the game, Angel Salazar, moves to shortstop, with Sean Dunston being taken out of the game, fueling speculation that there was in fact something wrong with him in that inning. And the new pitcher is Scott Sanderson, in relief of Frank DiPino, who originally relieved Greg Maddux. And Sanderson 1-1 with a 0.90 ERA. This is only his 6th appearance. And to call it for you, here's Tim McCarver.
All right, thank you very much, Steve-O. Mookie Wilson takes a strike against Scott Sanderson, a 6-5 ball game. The Cubs with 4 in the 2nd, 2 in the 6th. The Mets with 2 in the 1st and 3rd, and 1 in the 5th. Ground ball, left field, base hit. So Wilson, for the 2nd time in this game, singles to left, and his hot hitting continues.
And it's hit in, Mookie has hit in 14 of his last 15 games. And he entered this game hitting close to 400 over the last 25. Mookie waited on that off-speed pitch very well and lashed it the other way.
Sean Dunston, by the way, leaving the game because of a sprained left ankle. Greg Jeffries is 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored, and the high fastball misses. The Mets 2-6 against the Cubs this year at Wrigley Field. So like a haunted castle, they want to get out, and in a hurry, hopefully with their lives. Not been a happy place for the Mets this year, or last year for that matter. They were 3-6 last year here.
Probably one of the worst parks for the Mets in their history.
Line to right field, base hit. Wilson's going to try for third. The throw. Jeffries doesn't want to do the same thing Johnson did in the 1st inning, so he stays at first. The Mets with runners at the corners and nobody out, trailing by a run. Good base running by Wilson.
And a great throw by Dawson, and Salazar really helped keep Jeffries at first with a very good decoy. Dawson makes this throw in such a way that it can be cut off, and Salazar fakes like he's going to cut it off. And so Jeffries really put the brakes on in a hurry. As soon as Salazar goes up for this ball, boom, Jeffries stops. And that's all you have to do is give the guys in the infield as an outfielder a chance to cut the ball off, and then you can hold the runner. But Wilson safely to third, and another chance for New York.
So the Mets have greeted Scott Sanderson, relieving Frank DiPino. with 2 base hits to lead off the 7th, and Keith Hernandez, the batter. He's 2 for 3. Line drive, right field, base hit, right center. Jeffries very timid. However, he did have to hold up to see if Webster had a shot at that ball. Wilson scores. It's now a tied ball game.
Hernandez 3rd hit and 2nd RBI. This is the 4th inning in this game that the Mets have had 2 on with nobody out to start an inning. Boy, Hernandez all over this pitch. And I guess from where Jeffries was, it appeared as if Webster might be able to run that ball down. So Jeffries only able to go to 2nd, but still nobody out, and the Mets have retied the game.
Darryl Strawberry now. Darryl with his 33rd home run in the 3rd with a made aboard and an RBI single in the 5th. Chance to do more damage, and Vance Law is now out to talk to Scott Sanderson. You know what this is all about.
This is to give the bullpen some time.
Jim Croce used to sing, "If I could save time in a bottle." Well, Drew Hall came in last night. He threw up a 3-2 fastball to Strawberry, and Darryl took him deep to right field to tie the game in the 9th inning. Mike Capel is the right-hander, but Drew Hall the left-hander, and that's who it's going to be
this season. He's the 4th Chicago pitcher of the afternoon, 1-1 with 1 save, and he's going to face 3 consecutive left-handed hitters.
Strawberry, Lynn Dykstra, and then Johnson will have to turn around to the right side to hit against Drew. 2 on, none out, tie game. Strawberry, ball 1. As we said, Strawberry with a home run last night against Drew Hall, and he has another one in this game. Slider for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Strawberry. Jeffries at 2nd base. Hernandez at 1st base. Little looper to left field. Oncoming Palmeiro can't get to it. Jeffries had to hold up to see if Raphael was going to catch the ball. For that reason, he doesn't score with nobody out. And the Mets had the bases loaded with nobody out. They've had 4 straight hits.
Jeffries has been doing a lot of this holding up to see if the ball's going to be caught. Station to station baseball. Strawberry picks up his 3rd base hit, but is unable to pick up the RBI.
So now the middle infielders of the Cubs are in double play depth. And on the corners, Law at 3rd and Grace at 1st are playing in. Dykstra, the batter, he flied to center and is only at bat. Low, ball 1, 1-0.
The Mets now with 14 hits in this game.
The Cubs have 9. It's a 6-6 ball game. Mets with a chance to do some serious damage. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Mike Capel continues to throw in the Cub bullpen. It's been good and all the way for the Mets. Don Zimmer tied to be fit. Foul back. Lenny had a good pitch, a good swing, but he just didn't get enough of it. 2-1 to Dykstra, who entered the game for Kevin McReynolds back in the 5th inning. Wind blowing out to left field from the right field line to the left field fence, and there you can see the August scoreboard here at Wrigley Field. Two and one to Dykstra. Little looper. I say a little looper. This ball carrying into left center. And it's going to be a sacrifice fly. Tell you just can't gauge fly balls in this ballpark.
It happened to me earlier. I thought a ball was smoked when it wasn't. And that one didn't look like it was and carried. But that wind certainly didn't hurt Dykstra's ball as he gets the RBI on the sacrifice fly. In fact, you could see Webster start to break in. And then he had to go back as well as over to make the catch. So Dykstra's sac fly unties it. Again.
Yeah, again, right. This game has flip-flopped back and forth, as it often does for any team to visit Wrigley Field because of the elements of sun and wind, tough playing conditions. Howard Johnson fouls one back, 0-1 to Hojo. 1 out, 2 on, 7-6 New York here in the 7th. Just keep watching Greg Jeffries day in and day out, and I just don't think it's premature or an overstatement to say that he has awakened this lineup.
Yeah, he seems to have what it takes to put that spark in there, and that's what critics of the Mets have said has been missing.
Slider is high, 1-1. You might say, well, he's too young. Well, you know, there are a lot of adults that go through Christmas morning in rather apathetic fashion until a child shows up.
That's right.
So the youngsters can add spark. And he has certainly done that.
This is his 10th game, and he already has 15 base hits, including 3 homers.
1-1 to Johnson. Ball and 2 strikes now.
And there's more to it than the fact that Jeffries has produced offensively. It's just, it has a lot to do with the manner in which he goes about his work and his attitude and his intensity for the game. And it's not unfair either to say that a lot of that intensity on the part of the Mets has been lacking this year.
It's a fair statement. Slider is high, 2 balls, 2 strikes to Hojo, who is 3 for 3 on the afternoon. He drove in his 59th run back in the 1st. Good cut. Still 2-2. Talk about good cuts, because if you keep having good cuts, you're going to get your share of base hits. The at-bats are so important. It's not necessarily what you come up with. If you approach a good at-bat like it were your last at-bat, then you're going to more often than not come away with good numbers, or at least maximize your ability. Still 2-2 to Hojo. Slider is high, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, send the runners.
I don't know. Howard Johnson strikes out a lot.
Yeah.
Hernandez does not possess real good speed at third. Mets have had a problem, as we've talked about, moving runners over, advancing runners in similar situations. So, you know, you might be inclined to try to make something happen.
Hojo, a much better hitter from the left side. Runners not running. Hit deep to left field. Back is Palmeiro. Out of here, Howard Johnson. And the Mets lead it 10-6.
And again, it's Drew Hall who gets victimized with the home run, as he did last night. Howard Johnson now 4 for 4, including his 23rd home run of the year. And he has driven in 4 runs in this game.
So a big blast by Howard Johnson puts the Mets on top 10-6.
A 3-2 pitch. And Hojo right on it. You talk about good cuts.
Ooh,
he was having, good at bat. He laid off the high pitch, laid off the low and away pitch, fouled off a couple of tough ones. He and Keith Miller going through a routine. Myers. Hojo got one he could hammer, and he hammered it. When you're going well, you don't miss your pitch very often.
That's one handshake, however, that I've missed. 0-1 to Lyons, 0-2 to Barry. That's Johnson's first home run since August 14th. And his first home run as a right-hander since August 9th, when he hit one against Pat Perry in this ballpark. The left-hander for the Cubs. 15 hits now for the Mets. 0-2 to Lyons. And the fastball gets Barry. He's out of there. First strikeout for Hall, and the batter, Kevin Elster. Well, Hall came in last night. He served up the game-tying home run to Darryl Strawberry in the 9th inning. And now a home run that has put the Mets up by 4 to Howard Johnson here in the 7th of this ball game. Kevin Elster now. High, ball 1. Kevin 0 for 3 on the afternoon.
Well, a while ago, Frank DiPino was the pitcher of record as the winner. Now Scott Sanderson is the pitcher of record as the loser, and Sanderson pitched only 3 batters.
1-1 to Elster.
Baseball at Wrigley is a lot like the weather in Chicago. If you don't like the way things are, just wait a minute. It can change in a hurry.
Fandom here is fickle. Fickle, the finger of fandom. One laugh in may have missed. 2-1 to Elster.
Well, I used to enjoy that show. Fickle Finger of Fate Award, given every week. That's great humor.
Really a breakthrough in television.
Sure was.
That show. And the Mets have broken through today with a 10-6 lead here in the 7th. But a lot can happen. As we've said, 3-1 to Elster with Dwight Gooden on deck. One of the few times you see a doctor waiting. 3-2.
That is, of course, why those who visit doctors are called patients. You have to have a lot of it when you go to the doctor.
Thought I would try to add to my mailing list. Get another group of people upset.
Now the physicians be on your case.
Line to left center. Over is Palmeiro, and he makes the play. A nice play by Rafael Palmeiro, but the Mets strike 5 times on 5 hits, and they strand no one. It's 10-6, middle of the 7th. We're back after this from AT&T.
The answers to your long-distance questions are never more than a phone call.
6 lead. But enjoyment beware here at Wrigley.
Well, the Mets scored 5 runs in the top of the 9th inning last night to come from way back and tie it, only to lose it in the bottom of the 9th inning. So the Cubs are probably saying to themselves, look, they did it last night, we can do it today.
Boy, the Cubs are playing the Mets like bears this year. Andre Dawson now to lead it off here in the bottom of the 7th. Andy on the afternoon is 1 for 3, but he has not gotten the ball out of the infield. Brilliant play by Hernandez, robbed him the last time up. 0-1 to Andre Dawson. Curveball fouled back, 0-2.
Cubs and the Mets have developed into a good rivalry. And of course, a lot of that goes back to the '69 season when the Mets overtook the Cubs to win it. But I think where the gasoline was really thrown, that '84 season when the Cubs won the division. Remember those gritty games and all the animosity and everything that would go back and forth.
Dwight Gooden lost his first major league game in this ballpark. He was shelled by the Cubs after he won his opening game, or his first start, down in Houston. But he's 14-3 lifetime. Yeah, the Cubs won the first 2 games here at Wrigley Field, then they went to San Diego, and the Padres swept them 3 in a row, and it was the Padres in the World Series and not the Cubs. Swing and a miss. Boy, you talk about gas to gas, cheese to cheese, heat to heat. Strikeout number 5 for Gooden.
How about power to power?
Power to power.
That's a good cliche.
Yeah.
Well, this may be the fastest, hardest fastball Dwight Gooden has thrown all afternoon, and even the Hawk couldn't catch up with it. I mean, that was some dead red, as they say.
What's that truck line? Humping to please? He was humping up on that one. 1-0 to Palmeiro, who is 1 for 3 on the afternoon with a stolen base. Fly ball, left field. I don't think it's going to reach, but Wilson there, and he makes the play. That ball hit off the end of the bat. 2 outs.
Boy, Mookie did well to come up with the ball. I mean, it was a very, very difficult play when it turned out, or it started out, as if it was going to be a routine fly ball. Watch this last-minute adjustment. Hello. Wind, sun. All you can do is say thanks and shake your head.
Damon Berryhill swings and misses. Damon, a rough afternoon. He's 0 for 3. Game-winning RBI in last night's game, a game won by the Cubs 9-8. Change up, base hit, left field. So Berryhill with his first base hit of the afternoon, and that'll send up Vance Law. Law entered the game in the 7th inning, top half of this inning, when Sean Dunston came up lame, a sprained left ankle.
Vance hitting .291 now. He had been up near the 300 mark, but has been struggling of late. 8 homers and 63 RBI.
Strike on the corner. Doc has thrown a lot of pitches this afternoon. He's walked only 1. He struck out 5, but he has not retired the Cubs in order, with the exception of the 3rd inning. 0-2 to Law.
And in case you missed it, Sean Dunston left with a slightly sprained right ankle. And that's what ended Vance Law's supposed day off.
It was a right ankle, huh? I said left, but it was right ankle. Okay. All right.
That's what Jay said. One of his ankles is slightly sprained.
Well, I figured, you know, not knowing which one it was, I'd stand a 50% chance to be either right or wrong. 1-2 to Law. Inside, it almost hit him. That's all you need. You come in for a guy who gets hurt, and you get popped along with it. 2-2 to Vance.
It's close. Riding fastball. Look at that thing just bear in on it. And that's when guys do get hit a lot of times, is a fastball that looks like it's going to go straight, and then all of a sudden rides right in on you as you're moving in toward it.
Out of play down the right field line, so it's still 2-2. You know, most of the Cub foul balls today, especially from the right-handed hitters, have been off the other side. That's always a good sign when Gooden pitches.
Yeah, that shows he has his good velocity and some hop on the ball too, because it's not only that you're late, it's that you can't get the fat part of the bat on the good part of the ball.
Hit deep to center, but Dykstra is there. That ball didn't have a chance to get out of here. It was hit too low. No runs, a hit, one left for the Cubs here in the 7th. It's 10-6 New York after 7. And we're back after this hitter for Doc Gooden as Randy Myers is up and throwing in the bullpen. Davey deciding that Doc's had enough. Giving up only 2 earned runs in 7 innings. And Keith Miller takes a fastball outside, his 4th tenure with the Mets this year.
Miller hitting 186 with a homer and 4 RBIs. As a pinch hitter, he's 1 for 7.
1-1 to Miller.
Keith, a guy who came up and sort of sparked the Mets last year, performing very well until he dislocated his finger with a head-first slide.
Another slider for a strike, 1-2. And 2-2. Ralph Kiner also sticking around for another Kiner's Corner after the game. One of the few days we have one before and one after the game.
Double duty.
Double dipper. Foul away, 2-2. Not a lot of scores to go over today, just this ball game.
Give those laters, Ralph. You can run down those laters.
All the other games in both leagues being played at night. Pirates playing the Montreal Expos tonight at Pittsburgh. High, ball 3. 3-2 to Miller. 10-6 New York on top here in the top of the 8th inning. Line to center, base hit. So Keith Miller takes that wide turn at first after singling to center. And that'll bring up Mookie Wilson. Another good day for the Mook. He's 2 for 3. 16 hits now for the Mets.
You've heard the expression quick bat. This is a quick bat. Laces that ball up the middle. Ball got away from Webster, and that's why Miller had an idea that he might be able to go to second, but Mitch recovered in time to hold him.
Mookie's first at bat as a right-handed hitter this afternoon. Swing and a miss. 0-1 to Wilson.
Mets are only 2 hits away from their high hit total on the season of 18, which was also against the Chicago Cubs back on June 5th.
There goes Miller. Fastball is outside. The throw got him. Boy, right on the money. 1 out.
Berryhill with what you'd have to call a perfect throw. Watch Salazar. He doesn't even have to hardly move. The ball's right there. Miller tags himself out.
If it's any place else, he's safe.
Perfect throw.
1-1 to Wilson. 1 out here in the 8th. 10-6 Chicago. Ball and 2 strikes now to Mookie. Or I should say New York. I beg your pardon. Chicago trailing 10-6. I'm used to saying the Cubs are ahead in this ballpark, I guess.
Yes, you would have history on your side.
They've beaten the Mets 6 of 8 times this year and 9 of 15 meetings for the year. Cubs come to Shea next Wednesday and Thursday. 2-2 to Wilson. Hit from Mookie Wilson. Boy, has he been on a tear. Man.
Mookie now 3 for 4 plus a walk. He has scored 3 runs in this game. Mets are treating Drew Hall with a rudely. That's not a bad pitch, but the thing that made Mookie effective was he didn't try to pull it. He just hit it the other way with authority.
So here's Greg Jeffries, first time as a right-hander this afternoon. He is 2 for 3 with a walk and a run scored. Takes a strike. Hit to left field. Back is Palmeiro. Deep against the wall. Out of here. So Greg Jeffries gets a cheapie here at Wrigley Field. And the Mets now lead it 12-6. A dozen to a half dozen.
As with any new player in the big leagues, you don't want to overstate things, and you don't want to let a short period of time formulate too long-lasting an opinion, because things can change second time around the league and beyond. But Greg Jeffries has just done about everything. He's got 3 hits today, scored 3, driven in a couple.
Keith Hernandez now takes the ball.
And in 10 games, he's hit 4 home runs and driven in 7 while collecting 16 hits in those 10 games.
He had 7 home runs in the minor leagues this year.
Figure it out.
Inside, strike, 1-1 to Hernandez. Mike Capel, the right-hander, back up and throwing for the Cubs. Randy Myers was throwing for the Mets. Now Terry Leach is up and throwing. So maybe Davey will not use Myers with the Mets this far out in front. But we are still, we remind you, at Wrigley Field.
And the Cubs have 2 at-bats remaining.
High chopper toward first. Taken by Mark Grace. And 2 out here in the 8th inning, and the batter Darryl Strawberry. Straw, a good day. 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored, 3 hits, including his 33rd homer of the year. Well, what numbers that Jose Canseco is putting up. 111 RBIs, 107 runs scored, 37 homers to lead the majors.
How'd you like to see him play in this park every day?
Oh. How'd you like to have Strawberry, Canseco, and McGuire back to back to back? Inside. That's a little purpose pitch. 1-1 to Strawberry.
It was Darryl who hit the 2 out in the 9th 3-2 pitch homer off Drew Hall last night to tie the ball game. So that was a welcome back to the batter's box.
Outside corner, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Strawberry. Way outside, 2-2.
Darryl does look a little more purposeful at the plate here in the month of September. He said that he was going to have a great September after a bad last half of July and all of August.
Still 2-2.
And if he makes good on his desire to do just that, the Mets should be able to cruise on out to the division championship, because they need Darryl Strawberry to hit if they're going to win consistently.
Like he did the first 3 months of the season. He goes down on strikes on the slider. That's strikeout number 2 for Drew Hall. But the Mets with 2 more runs on a 2-run homer by Greg Jeffries. That makes it 12-6 after 7.5. We're back after this from 7 Up Gold.
strike that Barry Lyons can't handle. You rarely see Angel without a smile on his face, even after he takes a strike. Ground ball up the middle. Jeffries over, knocks it down, will not have a play. And we'll see how it's scored, but it should be an infield base hit. And it is.
Ball takes a tricky hop late. See that ball coming up, and Greg tried to catch it in the web. Even if he comes up with the ball, it's going to be a very difficult play getting Salazar.
Now Varsho hitting .304 with no homers and 3 RBIs, but as a pinch hitter, he is 7 for 14. Pops this one up in foul territory. Hojo's over there, but it's back in the first row out of play. Strike one. Even I don't need a calculator to tell you that's 500 as a pinch hitter. And even if you say, well, it's only 14 at bats. Well, 14 pinch hit at bats is a respectable number of pinch hit at bats.
Good sample, it is.
Right. Cubs always seem to come up with pinch hitters.
Thad Bosley several years ago, for a couple of years, the leading pinch hitter. He used to have Al Spangler too.
Martinez.
Boy, was he a good pinch hitter.
They've had him. They always have somebody that can come off the bench and do the job. On occasions, they've had 2 or 3 somebodies. 0-2 to Varsho. Just outside, 1-2. Leach in relief of Gooden in the bottom of the 8th inning. A drive foul down the left field line. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Salazar at first with nobody out. And after Varsho, the top of the order, and Mitch Webster for Chicago. Blowing away, 2-2. Hernandez playing well behind Salazar at first base as Angel gets off the bag. Keith moves farther back since the Mets lead by 6. Fly ball to left field. Wilson coming in. 1 away. So 1 out, 1 on. And Mitch Webster will be the batter. Webster still looking for a hit, although he has scored 2 runs today. He reached on an error, and a big one it was. A 2-run 3-base error by Mookie Wilson in center field at the time in the 2nd inning. He walked, stole a base, and scored in the 6th. And he skies this one to left field. Wilson calling off Dykstra. 2 away. Mookie's been busy. They seem to find him. Had a lot of chances in center, moved to left, and he still has a lot of chances. What's this guy doing? So bad he can't look. Nice turban. Manny Trio, the batter. 2 for 4 with a couple of singles, 3 RBIs, and a run score. And a strike at the knees. Just a little bit high. It's supposed to be a high strike this year, but we haven't seen it. Let's put it this way, a higher Strike. 1-1. Salazar will go down to second as the ball gets away from Lyons. 2 balls, 1 strike.
Very upset with himself, and I know how he feels. He's caught so many games or so many balls today, and after not being in there, you really get tired. You may be in condition, but you're not in catching condition, and sometimes you get slow and lethargic with your hands, and that's why that was a pass ball on Barry Lyons.
Now Barry changing the routine since Salazar is now at second base, and they can't get together, so they're going to have a meeting. Barry was trying to signal to him what it was going to be, but Terry was unsure. Now Kevin Elster comes in because he too wants to know, so the infield can be apprised of the pitch.
See Barry shaking his head there. He's upset. Here it is, a 6-run ball game. You really care about little things like that. You want to really keep your porch clean back there.
Well hit to center, but an easy play, and Dykstra has it for the final out. So a leadoff infield base hit goes for naught, and at the end of 8 it's still Mets 12, Cubs 6, and we're back to Wrigley for the New York Mets, and it is 13-6 New York. It's a 4-dinger day for the Metropolitans.
You know, something that I have thought about lately, everybody's talking about going to lights and breaking from tradition. Well, you know, the tradition here at Wrigley Field has been as unfair a baseball for 72 years as one can imagine, with the wind conditions here and the sun. So, I mean, you know, what's so non-traditional about going tonight? I mean, this has not been a tradition. Games haven't been won traditionally in this park since it opened.
That is a great point, and really true. The only thing that people think about is the last vestige of all-day baseball.
Yeah.
Well, that's not necessarily a good thing. Line drive base hit by Howard Johnson.
I think that's his first 5-hit game ever.
Kojo 5 for 5, 3 singles, a double, and his 23rd home run of the year. A perfect day.
That is his first 5-hit game of his major league career, and Ralph Kiner will probably ask him about it on the post-game show. Here we are talking Ralph into a post-game guest.
We're lobbying for the post-game guest. Telling him who to select. Nobody out in the 9th. Again, the Mets get the first 2 on with nobody out. One of them goes all the way around as Dykstra leads off with a home run. And the Mets now have 20 base hits. And our producer Jeff Mitchell says we're staying on this shot of Howard Johnson until Ralph acquiesces to use him as a guest. Fouled off by Barry Lyons, strike 1. Let's go back to Hojo. Let's wait for Ralph's decision here. He's on. Okay,
he's
Ralph says he's
right
on. You're looking at the post-game guest for Kiner's Corner this afternoon. 5 for 5, Howard Johnson. We just booked him ourselves. Fly ball into short left field. Salazar out. Palmeiro in. 1 away. So Barry Lyons 1 for 5. And the batter Kevin Elster, who has yet to join the hit parade. The Mets with a season high 20 hits. People are leaving the park in droves, in trains too. Outside ball 1. Elster, the only player in the lineup other than the pitcher and other than McReynolds, who left after the 3rd inning, not to have a hit. Kevin has hit 2 balls very well, however, but they were caught. 2 balls, no strikes. 2-1. Check this out. Practice some free throws.
Better not bank any there, I'll tell you that.
How in the world could you shoot baskets in that balcony?
Maybe you shoot it from the bottom balcony.
Elster hits one deep, but this one looks like it's going to stay in the park. It does. Webster makes the catch. Johnson retreats to first base now with 2 out. So Terry Leach will get a chance to swing the bat. Terry hitting 154 with no homers and 3 RBIs. This is only his 14th at bat of the year. And he gets jammed and fouls it off out of play. Strike 1. It is a 13-6 ball game. We're in the top of the 9th inning with 1 on and 2 out. One and 1. Did he just say Hojo had another 5-hit game? No, it was a 4-hit game. Oh, McReynolds had a 5-hit game. So it's the second Mets 5-hit game. Threw me a curve there. That was a fastball to Leach, however. So it's 1 and 2. Boy, that just did miss. 2 and 2. And the inning is over. Mets score once on 2 hits. Glenn Dykstra's 6th home run of the year, leading off the inning. We go to the bottom of the 9th with a 13-6 New York lead. After this for Continental Airlines. Elevator on the floor that it's already pushed.
Right.
Do not start up an inane conversation.
Correct.
In the elevator.
Right.
Never try to enter a packed elevator when everyone's trying to get off.
Right.
Stupid. Never get on at 10 and off at 9 with a stupid ice bucket. Never ask people around you, is this your floor? No one cares. Never say to tourist groups, come on, you can fit. Then 42 people will get on. Wait for the elevator doors to close before checking the correct direction of your room. Not to annoy the other riders by pushing all of the buttons. Mark Grace grounds to his hero, Keith Hernandez. Leach covers. And there's 1 out in the bottom of the 9th inning.
It's like David Letterman, isn't it? What's that 9th one? The 8th and 9th one one more time.
Can we go back to that page? All right. Not to annoy the other riders by pushing all the buttons in the elevator. Never ask the elevator operator, does this job have its ups and downs or what? And you could add to that, be sure to get on and say, left, please. You feel better now?
Yes, I do. We finally got it in. We've been holding that in the can for 2 months, to the delight of probably our audience today.
That's right. It's always better to get those things that bother us off our chest.
Exactly.
Especially when you can do it to millions of people.
Of course.
I'm glad we did that for you, Timmy.
Thank you very much.
1 out in the bottom of the 9th, and here's Andre Dawson, who's 1 for 4.
You're making sure that I come up with it and everybody knows it, so I get the mail again.
Oh, I want to give you credit where credit is due.
ERCT, E-R-C-T is the acronym in case you want to form your own elevator fan club.
Elevator Riders Center of Training.
I mean, think about it. Grown people in this country who do not know how to ride an elevator.
I got a new acronym for you.
What?
Let's call it etc. The Elevator Training Center.
For somebody who just keeps riding.
That's it. Just call it etc. And you could add to those 9 points, etc.
Excellent point.
Dawson with a foul ball outside of third, so it's still 1 and 2. Now for a printed transcript of those 9 points of riding an elevator, write Tim McCarver.
Plus 50 cents for postage and handling, too.
Be sure to enclose a stamped self-addressed envelope, however.
You get a name tag back.
That's right, that you can wear on an elevator. Perfect. foul back as Dawson just did get a piece of it. 1-2 still. Terry Leach trying to shut things down here in what has been a long afternoon for both teams. In referring to last night's game this morning in the clubhouse before the game, Davy Johnson called it the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it seems like Wrigley Field games have a lot of all three.
Scripts you've never seen before.
That's right. Total ad lib. 2-2 to Dawson. I can't wait till we get to the Montreal Hotel tonight and get on the elevator.
I can.
Base hit left field. Dawson's second hit, the first allowed by Leach. The Cubs have not exactly been silent. They have an even dozen hits now themselves. So we've had 19 runs and 32 hits.
Second hit of the day for Dawson.
Here's Rafael Palmeiro, who has a hit in 4 trips, a single to center, and a stolen base.
Ever figured up how much time we spend on elevators? And I'm sure we're not unlike a lot of businessmen who can certainly relate to that.
Whatever it is, it's far too much, especially those people when you're trying to get down to the lobby that get on, as you pointed out, at 10 with an ice bucket in their hand and go to 9 because there's only ice on the odd numbered floors. Makes me want to choke the people who designed the hotel that way.
And then, of course, there's little Johnny who punches every button. All 24. You get on at 25, and you're in a hurry. Fun.
Ooh, baby. Popped up and playable. May not be an easy play. Wilson over by the mound, but he can't get there.
Yeah, well, you can certainly understand Mookie. I'll tell you, guys have done headers into those walls, and there is no padding where the mound is. There is padding on both outfield walls in foul territory, but not where for some reason, not where the bullpen mounds are.
I've never figured that out.
No, neither have I.
Doesn't start until after the bullpen mound.
I mean, what's the big difference?
Well hit to right field, but Strawberry right there, and he battles that sun to make the catch of the line drive 2 away as Dawson remains at first. So Terry Leach will try to get the last out here in the 9th inning, and it'll be Damon Berryhill, 1 for 4 on the afternoon, who will try to prevent that from happening. Strike 1. Dwight Gooden looks as if he's going to win this ball game, and as always, the doctor makes a donation of $1,000 to a children's hospital, and he will donate $1,000 to the Children's Memorial Hospital of Chicago. 1-1 outside. Leach is not in a position to receive a save. One ball, 2 strikes. Fly ball left field. This should do it. Mookie Wilson in position, and the game is over. Terry Leach pitches the last 2 in relief of Dwight Gooden, gives up a couple of hits, but the doctor goes 7 and wins his 17th game of the year. His record 17-6, and the loser, Scott Sanderson, who faced only 3 batters and gave up 3 hits, is now 1-2 on the year. A reminder that Ralph will be along with a special Kiner's Corner, and Tim and I'll be right back to wrap it up here from Wrigley, where the Mets have won it 13-6 after this for Michelob.